What's going on, the Winners Win podcast? Your boy Loso 2.0, and I'm over here with Juanita Carpenter. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, my name is Juanita Liz Carpenter. Most of my social media is branded Liz Carpenter, so got to get that out of the way. I am a health and wealth educator. I write spoken word activist type poems, and I just want people to take control of their health and take control of their wealth. So I write messages on that kind of note, because people say, oh, you seem like you're a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker. I'm like, I'm not. I just speak truth, and I speak from my experience. So that's a little bit about me. This year, my plan is just to get some things together and start a medical mission in Colombia. So that's what I'm working towards.
Okay. So I know we were briefly talking about your entrepreneurial journey and stuff like that a little bit. As far as family, how does your family support it, or you know what I mean, what's your relationship like with them with the entrepreneurial journey?
Man, my dad has been trying to squash the entrepreneur in me since I was 12 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, probably because he has the same bug. I'll call it the entrepreneurial bug. And when he sees me like just of that mindset, like I'm going for this, I think it speaks to him in a way where he's like, I should be doing that too, but I settled, therefore I'm going to try to squash that in you. My mom, she's super supportive of everything that I do. She's always asking, how can I help? How can I support you? And I have to be appreciative of my mom. Not that I would quit, because I don't have the quitter's mentality, but it's nice to have someone on your side. Like my mom, she doesn't have like the chops or the experience to be an entrepreneur. It's like we have failed entrepreneurs, like my grandmother and the family. They kind of they set up a restaurant in New York City, and they said that it wasn't successful because they kept giving away the food because they just had compassion on the people who needed to eat. So like
Yeah.
business have to be profitable. So ultimately they changed it over to a church, and the church is still there to this day. Upon this rock, church in Brooklyn, New York. It's still there.
Okay.
Little
Is that
storefront church.
is that where you're from?
I'm not from Brooklyn. I could say that. I was born in Nuremberg, Germany. I grew
Mhm.
up in Southwest Florida.
Okay. How was the
But
life like over there in Germany compared to Florida?
um, to be truthful, like I was only there until I was like 1.5. Both of
Oh
my
snap.
parents were stationed there
Mhm.
in the army. So I didn't grow up in Germany. Like I literally was in Brooklyn for like 3 years, and then I was in Florida since I was 5 on up.
Okay. The part of Florida that you're in, what part is that?
It's the city is called Port Charlotte. Okay.
Port.
Well, it's a town. It's really
Mm-hmm.
small. It used to be just a retirement community. Then more people started moving into the area. The closest large city is Fort Myers. And so,
Oh
you know,
wait, hold on. I think you are you close to Lehigh Acres?
it's fairly close to Lehigh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually it's funny. I'm actually going there in 2 weeks. Going to Lehigh. Gonna be there for a week to visit my mom. She lives over there. Um,
Let's say that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll be there for a couple of weeks. Now, with that community, is that like a community that's a lot of small businesses? You said it was a small community. Do you see like a lot of small businesses and stuff like that in the area as well?
For sure, for sure. Well, we also had Hurricane Ian come through and literally flatten everything. Like the
Oh
street
yeah.
signs are down flat, trees are
Mhm.
down flat, and like the signals for the stoplights, some of them are literally blown off of the wire. It
Mm.
was a catastrophe over here. And it's still like all the stuff hasn't been cleaned up. All the debris is still piled up on the side of the road in different places, blue tarps all over the roofs. We have not recovered.
Dang, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. Hopefully everything works out well now. Not too much more about you, but really kind of talk about that health and wealth, education. How did you get started with that journey?
Sure. Well, it started when I was a teenager because I was in cross country running. I
Hmm.
started, having an interest in health. And I gotta be real with y'all guys because I was the only Black girl on the cross country team
Yeah,
because most of the
yeah,
girls
yeah.
in my school, they're like, why you want to be out there in that hot sun?
Hmm.
And I was just like, I'm good at running. I'm not good at any of the other sports. I lack hand-eye coordination. So I can run, and that's about all I could do. And my brothers were good at basketball. My sister was good at basketball. My brothers played football, and all I could do was run. So it's just like that's what it was. But I
Hmm.
started reading a magazine called Prevention Magazine, and it's full of health tips and things like that. So I started studying health. Um, and even though I'm a normal weight, like I felt like I was a fat girl on that cross country team. I don't know if you kind of know what cross country runners typically look like.
Yeah, I
You know
do.
what
I
I
see them.
mean?
They're like super, super. Because like I know sprinters, like because I'm running track for a year. I know
Yeah.
sprinters are a little bit more like stronger built, but like the long
hmm
distance runners are like more like really slim, like really skinny.
If you think of the Kenyans in the Olympics, yeah, pretty
Hmm.
much all of them were like really wavy like that.
Hmm.
So I was there thinking I'm fat. And so I was like looking at all these solutions. How can I unfat myself? But my
Hmm.
body is built differently than they were built.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a little bit thicker. And I didn't actually know these things when I was a teenager. Like people's bodies are built differently. And then my sister also let me know, since she was on the track and cross country team, that most of those girls had eating disorders,
Mm.
like bulimia and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
And I
saying.
didn't know that. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm fat.
Hmm.
So um, it started with that. As I progressed into like college age, there was different things like that. But I always wanted to eat healthy. I always wanted to take care of myself. And then around 2010, I had some travel vaccines to travel for. It was a study abroad program with my university. But after those travel vaccines, I lost my health. I developed what is called electrosensitivity, on which I'm learning is connected to heavy metal toxicity, which can be in some of the vaccines.
Hmm.
Um, and and so from there, it's been a struggle. And of course, when you lose something and you have to regain it, you pay more attention. Like most people aren't interested in health until they lose their health.
Yeah.
Um, and then we also had a situation where I lost my brother. He was
Sorry to hear
26
that.
or 27 years old. No, he wasn't that old. He was 24.
Hmm.
But after that, my mom developed a form of lymphoma. And so she's working as a registered nurse in the hospital, and she knew a lot of the doctors who were working in I forget the exact name for cancer
Hmm.
area. Do you know what I'm talking about? Starts with
The
a
you
O.
said the cancer area though at the hospital.
No, it's the area of research, like doctors that are specifically work on cancer have
Oh,
that,
I
that
don't know.
type.
Yeah, I'm being honest. I don't
Yeah,
know nothing about that.
it's not coming to me. But anyway, she knew these doctors, and so she had an appointment. They're recommending chemo for her, and she says to the doctor, "Hey, now if your wife had the same situation, the same diagnosis, would you recommend this to her?" And she
Hmm.
said the doctor told her no. She walked out of that office and never went to another, checkup again. But
Hmm.
she started researching on the website, The Truth About Cancer. She educated herself. She did Gershon therapy, which is, just purifying your body with fasting and juicing and that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
she got healthy. And I love to tell people like, hey, my mom, she beat cancer, and she did it by changing her diet.
her own way. So she didn't have to go through like chemotherapy and all that stuff.
She didn't do none of that. None of that. After she had that talk with the doctor, and because she is a registered nurse and had taken care of a lot of cancer patients and knew what it was, she was like, no, we're not doing that. I don't understand how health can come from poisoning the body. So, yeah.
Okay.
So another thing we discovered in that time, probably from the same truth about cancer, is that bitter apricot seeds are effective with attacking cancer cells. And that's one of the articles that I published, and it's the most popular article that I published on Medium, the truth about bitter apricot.
Oh, Medium. Oh, you got a Medium? You got I got followers. I got one too. I don't really got a lot of followers though, but I just post a lot of mental health stuff on there.
Mental health, yes. All of my stuff is suppressed cancer treatments pretty much, and I just did the brain dump in 2019. I haven't written too much since then, but a few articles. But all of this was just like, I need people to know this, so I'm just going to put it out there.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So now that you've been doing all that, right now, where are you in your journey on that? You know, you're my fault. I'm losing the train of thought. But where are you right now on your journey, though?
Yeah. So, and that's on my fault, because I was leading there, and I was just like, oh, how'd you get started in health? This is how. So I have seen several, what you would call naturopathic doctors, chiropractic doctors, trying to deal with this electrosensitivity thing, because it's affected my life in a way like most people who have this condition. If they don't actually understand it, they just leave society and go out and camp in the desert where there's not any towers, and they don't have to deal with Wi-Fi or anything like that. But for me, I started detoxing. It used to be like, if somebody had an iPhone, specifically iPhone, and they walked into the same room as me, I would be in pain. And I would be in like level 6, 7 pain, where I had to get away from them. And I would be yelling at my family members. I'm like, why did you do that? You're hurting me. It was unbelievable. And now I have pain, but it's controllable. And I can tell you people, like those little patches, most of the stuff that they sell, the pendants, the little patches they sell for your phone are complete garbage. I mean, these companies just pop up and they will tell you what it is. But I'm like, from my personal experience, someone who has pain, most of those things are garbage. And I bought so many things that are supposed to shield you or change the frequency or radiation from your phone and stuff. And no, most of it's garbage. Just so you know. So what brought me to wanting to start a practice in Colombia? To protect those involved, I'm not going to go too deep into why Colombia and all that. But in 2021, I think it was, I left for Colombia because I was connected with a family there, and I was scared that one of them would die from the virus. And I was just like, all right, me and my family, we know herbs, we do that, but they don't know. I should go help them. So I went down there with that intent. I ended up meeting some other people, met 2 people that have the HIV. And then I was like, I heard that's curable. I'm like, I heard that. And then the general consensus is, no, it's not. But I had already kind of watched the Dr. Sebi story. And I had already been researching Dr. Hulda Clark. And
not familiar with him. Only Dr. Sebi.
You can find Dr. Hulda Clark. She also has several cases where she cured. And let me get the disclaimer. You should not believe anything that I say. Always go to your health blah 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 person for your guidance, and I'm not making any recommendations. Yeah, so I don't get arrested by the FDA. And then there's another guy, Jim Humble, and he was curing it in Africa. So I was like, you know. But so I came back because there's now not just these treatments like herbs and things, there's now machines that can aid with that. And so when I did not get my work visa, I forgot that part. I did not get my work visa, kind of forced to come back, but I'm also now just like raising money to get these machines, to get the treatments, to go back there and heal, help some people heal themselves.
So, I mean, you seem very, very knowledgeable on all of this.
Yeah.
Most people have some type of mentor. Did you have a mentor, or is this all just from straight study?
Self-study. I had every intention of enrolling in the School of Natural Healing with Dr. Christopher, because one of the other dudes that's very popular with herbdoc.com was
Mm-hmm.
trained by him, Dr. Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, like if Dr. Schultz was trained by Dr. Christopher, I
Yeah.
need to go to this school. I did attempt to find training through Dr. Sebi's people, and they generally just don't do it. They'll sell you protocols, they'll sell you
Mm-hmm.
supplements, but they don't have like a training school or anything. So that
For
was
you to
kind of
go do
like,
your own research. I mean, sometimes I think it's better that way, because I feel like when someone has to actually work for something and like go do their own work, they appreciate it more. Like if it was just
sure.
like, you know what I mean, you got to go and actually do your own research and do your own study and learn, you appreciate it so much more. And really it works because, hey, I'm doing it. Like I'm literally doing everything that I'm learning. Besides, with all this time you have for the research, with raising the money to go back to Colombia, and dealing with your own health as well. How do you find time to like enjoy yourself and just have fun and stuff? Like, I mean, that sounds fun too. You know what I mean? I love doing that too as well. But what about you though?
I can say since I've been back in Florida, I have not been of that frame of mind. Oh, let me enjoy myself. Actually, that's one of the things that my friends complain about. Um, yeah, I get the complaints. When do you sleep? You're so intense. Um, you're a workaholic. I do get those complaints, but you understand it. If you're an entrepreneur, the work has to be done. Like
Mm-hmm.
nothing's coming out of you like sitting there and dreaming about it.
Mm-hmm.
So because I am restarting again, because my educational career says I'm an English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Carpenter is an English teacher. That's what my education says. But I call myself an educator. I'm like, I'm an educator. I'm a health educator. I'm a health publisher. And my intent is to help people build their health and wealth. And that's it. So everything that my resume may say, that's great. Like I paid for that education, but that's not speaking to what I'm really about.
No, I got you. I got you. And that's fine though too as well. There's nothing wrong with having in 9 to 5 to fund your dreams, you know what I mean, until you can get that's what I look at it as anyway, though. It's called the chicken entrepreneur approach. You keep using the money, and then you just keep until you make double the amount of money that you have from your entrepreneurship, then you leave it. Because entrepreneur goes up and down. And speaking of those up and downs, how do you deal, I guess, mentally, like with all the ups and downs of entrepreneurship?
Sure. And thank you for asking that, because entering the Wake Up Warrior Network in 2018 has been one of the best decisions I made as far as personal development in my life, because I had paid maybe 40 grand in personal development,
Mm-hmm.
different programs like the John Maxwell team. Um, I can't even name them all off my head, but there's Warrior Acceleration Program. I even paid like an energy healing coach for coaching for like a year. She
Mm-hmm.
was expensive. But yeah, but the one where I saw a change, a transformation in me was going through the warrior protocols. And they make sure that you have a solid routine, morning routine. Very
That's the most
important.
important part. Yeah.
Very important. So I know evening rituals are good, but they teach to have the solid morning routine to start in power for your day, and don't start late.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start late. beat the sun up. There's people that have that kind of mentality, beat the sun up.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I will just share the surface level of that. You deal with body, like your physical health and nutrition, being, which is your spiritual health and connectedness to God and things like that. You deal with your relationships, like really sewing into the relationships that feed you and that you want to build. And like family, really important. And the last part is business, making sure you're educating yourself on your business, because the mindsets and the skill sets that you have right now will not get you to that vision that you have in the future. So you have to always be educating yourself
Of course,
and like
always trying to grow.
upskilling. Yeah.
So
So that's it.
now, so you said a lot of great stuff. You definitely taught me a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really good. I don't know a lot about health and all that. I just work out and go home and I eat whatever I want. So I need to work on that.
Hey.
What is something that like one piece of solid advice that you would leave the audience if you had to?
Yeah. So for those of you who are starting out on your entrepreneurial journey, or for those of you who are just in the thick of it, I would say just take the time to study your skill sets. One of the great things that happened for me was a series of tests. This is part of the warrior training, where they had you take all these personality type tests. They even had like when were you born astrology type thing, which was totally like, some of the people are like, yo, we're Christian, we don't do that. But I was just like, I would love to judge these things, but this is a one-time thing. I'm not a horoscope person. I'm going to do this test because it's part of the program. So learning my skills, learning that I am a person that's a deep processor, but I'm not a quick starter, and to know where my weaknesses are and to know how to partner with those that have my strengths, and then not how to manage myself. Like Manage Yourself is one of the books that they recommend. Managing Yourself, I think is what it's called. And I want to say it's by Drucker, but it might be another dude. But essential reading, managing oneself. The other things that I want to share real quick is just things that the father, my father, which I call Yah, has taught me lately with project planning. As an entrepreneur, you might have like 7, 8, 10, we'll even say 20 projects going at once. So this new system that was given me this year has been so instrumental in helping me not go crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's like you work every day for like 16 hours, 18 hours. And sometimes it's like, what? My wheels are just spinning. I don't feel like I'm making progress. So to write all of these projects, the titles of them, in 2-week sprints, if you study project management at all, you will understand a sprint is like when you go for a specific thing to you get to the end. Same with running. But then I color codes. I have blue for money. Actually, no, I don't. Blue for people, green for time, and red for money. And each project, I'm using those color codes. And I'll give an example. Like, God, I need to get this journal article finished. I assigned 2 people. I wrote their names in blue. I assigned a certain money amount. I put that there. And then I assigned how much time I thought it would take. And so I'm able to calendar that in, and then I have it off the top of my head, because it was stressing me out. I'm like, this thing that I need to do, it's due December 25th, but I actually have this other stuff for business that's going to pay me, but this journal article is just like hanging there. Like the editor sent it back to me, and I need to fix it by a certain deadline. So there's that. And then this is another warrior mentality. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. And what's really real about this is that I would say the US mentality is the entitlement mentality. They teach you to wait for someone to give you something, where and then after you get something, you feel like you're entitled to it, like government benefits, or you get a job and you feel I'm entitled to a job, or I'm entitled to unemployment. And that's not an entrepreneurial mentalities. Like I go out and I eat. I was even today looking at Damon Johns's book. You know
Hmm.
his book?
No, Damon Johns. No,
Oh, I am I saying his name right? The creator of Fubu.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So he has a book called The Power of Broke, where
Hmm.
he talks about his mentality, hustling in New York, selling t-shirts to start his brand. And now he's on Shark Tank being an angel investor, but he started from and hustled.
Wait, on Shark Tank, which one was he? Is he the black bald dude?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He doing something with He actually is funny. He actually is what's the name? Working with Russell Brunson.
Yeah,
They're
he did
doing
a
a
little he did. Yep, he
hmm
did that launch with Russell. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last one is treat your relationships like gold. And
Hmm.
this is where I have been failing because I'm actually not wired to be terribly emotional about things. And then I have the assumption that other people are wired like I am. Like this is how I was interacting with the world. Like someone says something insulting to me, I'm just like, what put them in that mood that they insulted
To
me?
be mad,
And
yeah, you that mad.
I'll reason through it and I'll dismiss it. But other people, I guess this is normal people, not normal.
No, none of
Um,
us are. Well, none
they
of the successful people.
yeah, no, this is just normal people. Like most people, if someone says something that's insulting, they will take it deep and they will feel offense and they will hate that person and be like, that person's the worst person ever. Do you know what they did to me? Do you know what they said to me?
Hmm.
And they'll just ride that. But treat your relationships like gold means that you need to think of every single person as valuable. No
Yeah.
matter how they treat you, be like, all right, I'm gonna be good to you. And there's a speaker that I love, E.T., the hip hop preacher, talks about this
Yeah.
because he said, people do him dirty. He's still gotta be him. He's still hugging people up. And he's like, that I'm gonna be me. I'm not gonna let what they did to me change me from being me. And that means, yeah, that's his book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then John Maxwell said the same thing when I was in his program for a year, a mentorship program. He was saying how people close to him betrayed him, stole money from him, people that he was mentoring, like pouring his life into,
Hmm.
stole from him. And he's like, it hurt so bad. But he said that did not stop me from continuing to be positive, continuing to be open, continuing to let other people in my life, still being vulnerable to that hurt again, still being vulnerable to like say someone might do me dirty again. But I couldn't really understand that until the season that I'm in now. That's the call of higher leadership. You will be hurt when you're leading.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
just
just
part of the
going to happen.
territory.
So thank you for coming on here, sharing all this knowledge. Like she said, you could follow her pretty much Liz Carpenter for any of the social media platforms. Please like this video, just share it, subscribe to this channel, and everybody just winners win and losers lose. You guys keep doing your thing, man. All right.
Love it, Carlos.